Welcome to Blade HQ, everybody. Today, we are talking about new knives for the week of February 13th, 2023. Let's talk knives. First knife on the table is the newfangled Spyderco Stretch 2 XL. And this one is rocking the CPM Crewwear blade and this nice gray G10 handle. And when you think XL knives, you often think of something big and beefy, but this one is actually fairly slim. But the way they did the ergonomics on it, it really fills out the hand nicely. And if you want to choke up into this choil right here, very great. The Stretch 2 is very exciting, but the Stretch 2 XL is extra large exciting, if that's a thing. Yeah, made in Japan with, once again, that Crewwear blade steel. And if you haven't heard of that, it's a carbon steel that'll sort of darken with time and it'll rust if you don't take care of it. But if you take care of it well, it will hold its edge forever and it's very tough. So I would classify this as sort of a hard use everyday carry knife or just something to make you smile if you're a bit of a steel nerd like me. And these are going for $284.55 on BladeHQ.com right now. Next up, we have the Revo Nexus. So if you haven't heard of Revo knives, they are sort of a relative of BRS, Blade Runner Systems. And BRS is known for making some of the finest butterfly knives the world has ever seen. And this very much has the DNA of one of those BRS knives, but it doesn't have the price tag of one. But it's still USA made, has these nice anodized aluminum scales, it's a sandwich construction, and then a 154 cm blade, so it's gonna be nice and tough, it's gonna handle it if you drop it, and it flips very nicely. I like this one. It's a good butterfly knife, especially for its price at $211.50. That is a very good deal for a USA-made butterfly knife, especially of this quality. And I believe this one is running on bearings. So I know a lot of butterfly people out there are very persnickety about what is on their pivot. Some like washers, some like bearings, some like bushings, that's the other word. But yeah, this one's running on bearings, and I think it is one of the better tuned bearing butterfly knives I've ever held. Very a nice knife. That's not a word. Very a nice knife. Whatever, keep it. Next up, we're going very small with the Civivi knives Circulus. So this is an Ostap Hell design, and I think he's one of those designers that is far more prolific than we give him credit for. We see a whole lot of his designs coming out of a lot of different brands. And I think they're just really nice and usable, just small and convenient on this one. Some of them get bigger, but I like this one. This one kind of has, it almost reminds me of those CRKT minimalist knives, where it is a 3-finger grip and then you grab the lanyard, and this one has a nice bead to fill out your pinky. So it gives you a really solid grip. And then this sheath is super small, just barely larger than the blade itself. And I think it's designed for a few different applications. It comes set up with this pocket clip. So if you want to run it inside your pocket or in your boot or on your belt or whatever, that works. But I would probably pull that pocket clip off and I'd run this as a neck knife. I think it would be super good as a neck knife because it's small enough that, you know, you'll give somebody a hug, you're not gonna bother them with your neck knife, and slim, easy to carry, and a nice steel too. I can never quite remember the numbers on this one. 10CR15COMOV. It's very similar to VG10, but it's made in some of those Chinese foundries, but it has a hard to remember name. One day I'll remember it. Next up, we have the Matsy Knives Basilisk. So this one is a brand new one from a brand I hadn't even heard of until it landed at Blade HQ, but I think this one's definitely on the radar. It's got a nice 3D machined titanium handle, including this nice backspacer with a laser engraving of Matsy, a very tasteful branding. But the Matsy Basilisk just feels very premium. And then frame lock's nice and smooth, and when it's in the pocket, it is just super, I want to say organic, but then the milling textures and the accents here are also sort of geometric. It's kind of a space age vibe to me. And it has a thumb stud or that interesting sort of back top flipper, so it doesn't stick out the top or the back, but it still allows you to flip the knife. Matsy Basilisk, very nice. And these ones are going for $365 right now. Next up, we have the SOG 10. So these ones were announced at SHOT Show 2021, and we are finally seeing them. And I was talking to the guys at the booth, and they were saying that they wanted to make sure that they dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's because this is a premium knife and they wanted it to have a premium feel. And it really does. So you've seen a lot of locks like this, these crossbar locks. They call this one the XR lock. And a lot of the time, at least when I pick up an XR lock or a crossbar lock or whatever you're gonna call it, I feel like this is a working knife. This is something that wants to go to work and get beat up on. But then you pick up this one and it has a different feeling. It's like this is a luxury knife that just happens to have this lock. I love this back spacer that they put in. So this one, I kind of went with that Stormtrooper white, and that's fully black all the way up the back, so you're not gonna see any of the inner mechanism. A nice pocket clip that is just super well hidden in the back here, so it's gonna sit nice and deep in your pocket. And a nice thumb hole opener and a buttery smooth action. It is a very premium knife, and it does come at a bit of a premium price. These are going for $299.95. But I think it's well worth it considering the S35VN blade, this nice aluminum handle with a very smooth anodize and a very, very smooth action. So going from sort of that luxury everyday carry to a true woods chopper, we have the brand new USA-made Eggy Libertarian. So this one is a few interesting things. So first of all, the Libertarian has been out before and it was made in the expat line, meaning it was made overseas in El Salvador. But this one is made in the United States, but it's not made by Rowan. So Rowan's a manufacturer up in Idaho that makes some very good knives, but they make all the Eggy line in the US except this one, which is made by Dobbs. Very interesting, but it feels through and through like an Eggy. I could go and chop this thing in the woods all day long. It's razor sharp, sort of a Scandi grind on this one, so you can do some carving if you want. And what I appreciate is this big hole. Not only does it remind me of the big old cleavers of old, but you can carve a stick and put it in there, and then you can use this as a draw knife. And draw knives are some of the easiest way to make posts or shavings or whatever you're doing. This knife can go quickly from a survival knife to sort of a crafting knife. So if you are a guy who likes to play around the campsite and do all kinds of crazy stuff, and one day you're LARPing around like you're Bear Grylls, and the next day you're trying to carve the Mona Lisa in a three-dimensional whatever you're doing, I'd say this is a great fixed blade to bring along with you because it can slide into all those roles. And it comes with a nice nylon sheath too. Next up, we're gonna go away from knives for a minute because we have two very interesting sort of other everyday carry accessories that came out, starting with the Lion Steel Eggy. So this is a cool keychain, and it's just a little bar of titanium, and it spins. It's very fidgety like that. But it also, you can screw this top off, and there's a bunch of bits inside. So you see these, they've got different Torx heads, different flatheads, Phillips. And one thing that I think is very interesting is it has this one right here. You'll have to get that in B-roll, it's so small, but that's an actual cutting blade. And then you just put it in your Eggy, and you have a nice handle for it. And if you want, you could either put this thing back on to sort of give you a little bit more ergonomics. And like, there's a knife, or you can pull that out and do a screwdriver or whatever. It has all the tools you need to take care of your knife and maybe open a package here and there, but it all just fits inside this neat little egg made of titanium. And the Lion Steel Eggy is going for $115.95. And remember, that is just one solid ball of titanium, so whatever you can see yourself using a solid ball of titanium for, the Eggy's great for that too. And last on the table, we have the Olight Baton 3 Pro Max. Thing's got a lot of suffixes, but it definitely is of the Baton series. I kind of wish I had my S2R2 right here. Mine's a little bit smaller. One of the things that this is the first Baton series I'm aware of. Olight fans out there, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I believe this is the first Baton series to use the 21700 battery instead of the 18650. But this thing is gumption. So if you see here, it uses a bit of a warmer tone than you might be used to on your flashlights, and that's because it uses, there's two options with different flavors of LED. But this one is 2500 lumens at max setting, which is very bright for something that is this pocketable. This thing's brighter than your car's headlights, and you can just fit it in your pocket very nicely. Anyway, Olight coming swinging as always, and that is the new knives and gear for this week. Let us know what you like. Let us know what we missed. Is there anything else you've seen in new arrivals that you wish was on this table? We'd love to know. We'd love to see, do you want to see more knives, less knives? Let us know. Anyway, that's a week. We'll see you next time.